Welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Jake and VeRae Joseph.
Yo, what's up, Alliance family? Happy Wednesday. What are we, November the 12th of 2025? We're nearing the end of the last quarter of this year. First and foremost, thank you to Andy and Jane for allowing us to host this call today. We're definitely excited. We've got some amazing guests that a lot of you already know of, but we'll make sure we'll be able to introduce some of our great friends here on this call today. We've got some good stuff coming up, guys. We're gonna really jump into the nitty gritty and some excitement of how to grow your business and how to keep it growing. I once heard that success, only a taste of it, is terrible, right? If you get success just one time, it's the worst feeling ever. But if you capitalize on it and you have compound growth on your success, it's a lot of fun. You can do a lot of cool things. But definitely excited to be here alongside my wife, VeRae.
Good morning.
Want to say hi?
Good morning. Good morning. So excited to be here and always honored when we're asked to host any type of call or be a guest on any type of call like this. So thank you to the Alliance family for trusting us, and hopefully we deliver a good message today. So we are going to deliver a great message today.
Yes. Before we jump into a couple of things, we want to go over some of the basics. As we already know, we're halfway through November. We've got some big events that are going to be coming up here. I know we've got the Albright Intense training that's coming up the beginning of next month, along with a cabin event. For those of you that got your spots locked in, that's awesome. Those events have been a blast for both VeRae and I to experience, and a lot of good things taken away just from the tight, close camaraderie and the networking that goes along in a smaller space like that, real high level training. But guys, we got one of our biggest event of the year that's coming up here at the end of January, 2026 National Convention. Right? For those of you who don't know what that is, for first time people being on the call, this is, we like to say for us, this has been the event of events for us. We've got 4 every year, and we absolutely love National Convention. Why? Well, first and foremost, at least for us, it was the first event that we went to. It was the first event I remember back in, was that January of 2019? We were introduced to the business late October, early November of 2018. A good family friend of ours told us about the convention that was coming up, which was National Convention, or NatCon as we call it. And I remember we got there. We were excited. We honestly had an idea of what was going to be happen, but not the whole picture because we'd never been to one. And the moment we got in there, we knew that we already had our money's worth. Like the people that we were able to meet, because for a month and a half, we were watching these calls. We were watching the TWCs. We were watching the activity calls. And now was the chance. Here was the opportunity for us to meet the celebrities, as we had called them, right? The celebrities that were on the calls. We were like, wow, this is absolutely crazy that these people that we've been taking notes from ferociously over the last, 6-8 weeks that have been coaching the country are now live in front of us, and we're able to communicate with them. We're able to grab their phone numbers, so on and so forth, let alone the carriers. But we wanted to give you guys a real glimpse because, again, this is the event to kick off the year. This is the event to kick off all the other events with a ton of recognition and other things. I'm going to let VeRae go ahead and share a couple of teasers with the country of what to expect.
No, one thing I just want to mention is, like Jake said, this is the event to kick off the next year. So maybe you had a phenomenal 2025 and you're looking to scale your business. This is going to be the event that gives you that jump start. Maybe you're brand new in this business and you say, hey, I really want to give it a go. I want to put both feet in and I want to make sure that I have a successful first year in business. This is going to be the event that gets you where you need to go. So I can't stress enough the importance of the events, how much we've enjoyed attending them since we've been with the Alliance. We've never missed an event yet. It's like taking a shower. I know Andy uses that analogy, but you do it once. doesn't mean you're good to go. You still have to shower the next day, right? So these events for us are like taking showers in our business. It's making sure that we're showing up, because every event we're going to be able to learn something new. We're going to be able to take away a piece of information that's going to help us accelerate to the next level. Jake and I, every single event we've been to, we've always come back and we've leveled up, right? So we've sometimes, whether you're brand new in this business and you're just looking to see what's up, hey, this is the event for you. If you're seasoned in this business and you know that you, again, just want to grow your business, 10x your business, this is the event for you. But what a good time. So NatCon is one of my favorite events. I love the flashy lights. I love the fun. I love the recognition. And that's exactly what NatCon is going to be, in addition to the phenomenal training that we have. But Tia and the events team have just been working their butts off, coming up with a jam-packed agenda, making sure that every moment counts at National Convention. I heard through the grapevine, there's going to potentially be a mechanical bull. There's going to be an armadillo race. This is going to be a real race. This is not going to be Jeff Bright and Mike Guerra.
Not Mike Guerra pulling his hamstring again. We don't need to see that at 2 times.
There's going to be income recognition, you guys. So people that are, top income earners in the country. There's going to be a hat bar. They had that last national convention. I don't know if any of you guys got your hat, but I still have mine. Cafe Anderson is going to be performing.
That's a good time.
He's a good time, man. We got the honor of being able to see him privately at the cabin event when we were there, and just what a smart, knowledgeable guy to get around. Not only can he perform and he knows how to hold a crowd, but he's just very smart and he's very meticulous in what he does. And then also, guys, the Integrity Club. So Thursday night before National Convention, everybody has the opportunity to be invited. Not everybody's invited. Okay, I didn't say that, but everybody has the opportunity to get an invite to the Integrity Club. So there's lots of contests going on. Ask Your Growing Up line. How do I get into that club? What do I have to do? I would first look at the board member on your team, the senior board member, let's say that. Look at them and say, hey, what kind of things do I need to be doing in order to get an invite to the Integrity Club? But we've been up there. We've had the honor of being up there. We're grateful for our leaders for thinking of us and inviting us to that. But that's just where it gets you dream building, gets you envisioning what's possible for you and your business. So we're super excited for NatCon, and it's just right around the corner. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, then Christmas, then NatCon. So and it's what are we going to do between now and then to make sure that we show up ready to play the game and bring as much people with us as we can. So.
Yep. And then last thing before jumping into things, guys, we got to mention it, Thailand, right?
Ooh,
Every year we have these all expense paid trips that the Alliance puts on, and you don't want to miss one. You don't want to miss one. There are unlimited spaces available, and just seeing the beaches of the world, it's absolutely insane. This one is, I know for a lot of us in the Alliance, a lot of our friends, this has a special place in our heart because we were supposed to go back. We were supposed to go to Thailand back when there was still some COVID restrictions. And to say the least, I think some of us were just a little bit upset with those restrictions, but not to worry. We're going to be going. We're going in May. Is it May or June?
May.
Yes. I keep getting it mixed up. But we're going in May. We're excited to see so many of you in Thailand. I can't imagine. I have no idea what it's going to look like other than the videos, but I'm sure it's going to be even better than the videos. Guys, this is the time. It's November 12th. We've got some time. If you haven't locked it in yet, take it seriously. I know there's some people, close friends of ours, that are just working relentlessly 7 days a week who are looking to lock this thing in. Guys, you won't regret putting in the extra effort when you're hanging out in Thailand with your best buds, with your mentors, with Andy and Jane, with the rest of the team. So we promise you it's worth it. 100% worth it.
7 weeks left to qualify. Time is ticking. So I would ask you, what does your schedule look like between now and then? What is your lead investment? What are you doing every day to make sure you can get this trip locked in with us? So
yes. All right. So jumping into things, a little bit about ourselves. Again, my name's Jake Joseph. For those of you, again, brand new on the call, my wife and I, VeRae, we've been doing this now close to 7 years. I'm originally from New Jersey. Family moved out to New Mexico. We're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I know probably a lot of people don't have an idea of where that's at. We're right in between Texas and Arizona, just south of Colorado. So we're still in the US. Yes.
And yes, our first language is English. We did not learn English.
Yeah, exactly what VeRae said. My background, I call it construction. I built movie sets for about 5 to 6 years here in Albuquerque. So you've heard of like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and stuff like that. That's exactly what I did. Worked in the movies, building the movie sets, tearing them down, throwing them away, moving them across town. And it allowed us to survive, right? It gave a roof over our heads. I call it, we were able to get a new to you car. So we were able to get a used car, which was pretty cool with that salary and that income. We saved a little bit of money every month. We went on a vacation once a year. We didn't fly anywhere. We drove, Mimi. We drove to California. We drove to Venice Beach. That's where our vacation spot was Venice Beach. And now I look back, I'm like, I don't know if I could handle another Venice Beach trip.
Speak for yourself. I love Venice Beach.
Now I've seen some prettier beaches. So anyway, just always working with my hands. So some of you, are out there and you're thinking, man, I've never had sales experience. I've never had networking business or networking experience. I've never thought of running a business, or I don't know how to. I've never known anyone who has. Don't worry. That is why the Alliance system is here. That is what Andy has put in place here, is to help people to tune in and to become the person that's needed to grow success in this business. All right. As long as you're willing and you're able and you're ready to go to work, you can have success here. I'll let VeRae share a little bit of her background.
Yeah, so I was in the medical field. So I went to school early on, right out of high school. I went to college and started working towards my degree. But in the meantime, while I was working on my degree, I was always in the medical field. So I graduated high school and became a medical assistant. And then shortly after that, I decided, well, maybe I want to get into the dental field. So I got my dental assisting certificate. I worked in the dental field for a very brief time, and really my calling was back in the medical field. So I was working for a doctor. I worked for him doing FAA physicals, DOT physicals, running a Suboxone clinic. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know why, but I've just always been fascinated, with drug addiction and just kind of the psychology behind that. And I was able to meet a lot of really good people who had just made some wrong choices in life that had led them to where they were at. So I had a passion for that. I really enjoyed what I was doing. Again, just working with patients, working with the doctor, going to school to get my nursing degree. And then the Alliance definitely fell into our lap. It wasn't something, Jake and I weren't, out there on Indeed or Craigslist. We didn't have our resume out there. Again, we were both working. I was going to school full time, but a family friend introduced us to this business. And, she just asked me if I had ever considered getting my insurance license. I was going to school full time, working at the doctor's office. And what she saw, her way of approaching me was that getting my insurance license would allow me flexibility to work around my school schedule. At the time, our girls were 2 and 5 years old. So that being said, it was also a way of, being flexible with their schedule, getting and being able to spend more time with them. So that's my background, is in the medical field, and, forever grateful for our family friend just asking us, hey, you ever considered getting your insurance license? So that's how I got started.
Yeah. And just like a lot of our friends on the call here, and a lot of you out there that are watching this, we were at a position in our life where we were dissatisfied. We were grateful for what we had because, again, we live in the greatest country in the world. We live in America. We have amazing opportunities, so on and so forth. And at the same time, we knew there was always more. We'd seen other people accomplish more. We'd seen people, whether they were making more money or they had more time freedom or they were able to have greater experiences with their children. We wanted that. We just didn't know how to get it. And so when this opportunity came across, it just felt like a calling from God. It was a gift from God for us. But we're going to go around in our squares here. We've got our really good friend, Miss Mimi Romero. If you can go ahead and open up and share with the world a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on the call. So my name is Mimi Romero. Unlike Jake and VeRae, I was born in a different country. So you got to make sense of it. I was born and raised in Haiti. I've been in the US for 25 years. I live in California the whole time. So my dad came first, guys, and then he brought us in involuntarily. He didn't put a gun, but you just don't have a choice when your parents said, "Hey, I'm in the US, you coming," and then you just come. No choice there. Didn't want to be quite honest, because I'm a teenager. I like my friends. I want to be around my friends, and I didn't speak English and all that, so I didn't really want to come. But he said, "No, your parents says you coming, you coming." So I did. I don't regret anything. I actually, when I I went to school like any, I don't know about you guys, but for us Haitians, it's not optional to go to school. That's you are your parents' pride. You better go get educated and do better than them. So it was required of us to go to school. But I actually ended up liking school. So I'm a nerd. I like school, but we went to school. Day one, when I came, I went to community college, learn English, and then major in bio and psychology at the same time. I was told when I was a kid, Roy, that I was good with people. Like, I can calm people down. So I was like, oh, psychology is a good major. So I did the double bio and psych together and stuff like that. So I truly enjoyed what I did after I graduated community college. I went to a 4-year university, and then I went on and get my master's and things like that. And I was working as behavioral therapist, program manager, whatever you want to call it, with kids with autism, all kind of developmental issue, but mostly autism. I did that for 13 years. I truly loved it. I did. And I feel like I win more in this field, guys, because of that background, because it makes you connect with people and makes you more grateful. I say it makes me a better parent, because you get to see what other kids can do, and then your kids can do all that, and then what you got to complain about. You see what I'm saying? It makes me like a more grateful person to be in that field. I truly enjoy it. I still stay in touch with some of those clients from back then. But I got into a car accident while I was on the job. And then, you know how it goes with corporate America. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to that. You're good as long as you can do your job function, right? But the moment you become a liability, you're no longer valuable to the company. So then during that process, that's when the Alliance found me. I don't know how. I think they found my resume somewhere on Indeed or ZipRecruiter, but I was not looking, like you guys said. But they found my resume. Someone from Stephen Davies' office called me and give me that opportunity that I'm grateful forever for this opportunity. They told me about time freedom. It was important to me because I had 2 kids. My daughter was 6 years old, and then my son was a brand newborn, and he had a lot of medical issues like allergies. Like, that kid is allergic to ice. So I have nothing else to say. So it was important for me to have a place where I could have that flexibility to be able to take care of him, not having to worry about I'm going to get fired from my job. So that's what this business has done for me. And then also they said unlimited potential. Guys, I'm like, oh, I'm a hardworking person. I can do that. So you work more, you make more, you work less, you make less. That was it for me. And then the rest has been history. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. I'm just noticing all those checks in the background. I believe that was that must have been NatCon either 2021 or 2022. I don't remember, but I know we were getting bonuses like crazy. Jake and I have a bunch of those checks too at our house. How fun. I love seeing that. Thanks for sharing. Awesome. Next on our screen is Amanda. Are you able to open up and share a little bit about your background?
Yes, good morning, everybody. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Amanda Maldonado. I work out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I am direct to the Jake and VeRae Joseph. I'm extremely grateful that they forcibly brought me into the business. And extremely grateful to Andy and Jane for creating such an absolutely incredible system that allows anybody who's willing and able to plug into it to pretty much hit the ground running and just take off with success. So a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. I come from a background as really as an entrepreneur. Early on, I figured out very quickly that college was leading me down a path that I did not want to go down. I was double major computer science, computer engineering, a minor in electrical engineering. It was a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of mundane work, and there was a ceiling. And I saw that ceiling immediately. I felt trapped, and I knew one thing. College taught me one thing. That's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I quickly got out of corporate America so that I could have the freedom to do what it is that I wanted to do. I knew that it was going to come with an enormous sacrifice, but I also knew that it was going to be just for a season. So I went self-employed, and I've spent a lot of time dabbling in all these different businesses. My first was the cell phone industry because that was booming. It was cool to have a cell phone. You were hip if you didn't have a pager anymore and you were able to have a cell phone. So believe it or not, when I first started my business, I was still slanging some pagers here and there. But was in the cell phone industry for quite a long time. Got creative in that industry because not only was I selling cell phones and service, but where I made the majority of my money was fixing cell phones because nobody was doing that yet. So that was a great industry until they started putting cell phones in Walmart. And that quickly took so much off the table. So I had to pivot, started buying gold, selling gold, broken pieces of jewelry, gold teeth, whatever came my way. I bought it, tested it, bought it, resold it. That was great for a while. And then the price of gold skyrocketed. So everybody got wise to it and started doing that. Had a small engine repair shop. That worked really well until, again, they started putting machines in Walmart for cheaper than you could fix them. So that kind of closed the door on that industry, which I was not sad about because that was a really gross job. Working on small engines because small engines are in vacuum cleaners, buffers, floor machines, things like that. So, oh my gosh, I could tell you stories for days about the things that I pulled out of vacuum cleaners. I hear Andy say it all the time. If your dog makes poo-poo on the rug, walk away, let it dry. Don't get your vacuum out and try to vacuum it up while it's still wet. So, yeah. But so that industry shut out. I had a baptismal store at one point in time. Just trying everything. And then I found real estate, and real estate was very good to me for a very long time. We've had ups, downs. It is definitely a roller coaster ride. But I guess my entire life, I've just been in search for a system. And that's what I found with the Alliance. I basically went to go see Jake and VeRae. They had earned a promotion, so I went to go celebrate that with them and just be a supportive role in their life. And I was just in total disbelief of what I saw. I saw a system, a proven system. I saw a ton of people winning, and I knew that if I could implement this system, it could change my life. And it did. And that was about 2 years and 4 months. I've been in the business for 2 years and 4 months. The events have just been absolutely crucial and pivotal. It is a system, so I always make sure that I am doing everything that's required of me, which means showing up to anything and everything that I'm invited to and just plugging into. And I'm just incredibly grateful because this has literally been a life-changing experience for myself. And I'm still in a season of sacrifice because it takes a lot to get a business off the ground. But I know that there's nothing but blue skies ahead. So just very, very grateful to be here, to be a part of such an amazing system, and to be part of a group of people that they're just focused on winning, and they've got positive attitudes and completely and always willing to share and help each other out. And to me, that's huge because I've been a lone wolf my whole life. And so this for me is just an incredible opportunity that I'm just very, very grateful and blessed to be a part of. So thank you guys for having me on the call.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. Emily and Harry, are you all able to unmute?
Yes. Can you hear us okay?
We can.
Yes.
Light them up.
Awesome. So we are Harry and Emily Cardillo out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you so much for having us on the call, Andy and Jane, and then also Jake and VeRae. So my background, I have never really had a real job or anything. I grew up around the Alliance. So my parents go back, Adam and Beth Katz go back 34 years with Andy and Jane. And so I grew up around the lifestyle and going to all the conventions since I was 9 years old, fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the team. And I still went to college, got my bachelor's in business marketing, graduated from that NC State when I was 19. And I looked around, I enjoyed school just like Mimi. I enjoyed seeing the different career paths. We had people come in and talk to us, went to the career fairs and everything, but there was just nothing out there that provided what I grew up around, provided the culture, the team, the support system, and then also just the time freedom of money. I love our motto of have fun, make money, make a difference. And there's just nothing else I saw that would do all three of those things. So I got my license whenever I turned 18 before going off to school, started working part-time, and then have been full-time since I graduated college in 2021. And so it's just been an exciting journey.
So I have a little bit of a different story than Emily. I have worked many jobs. So when I met Emily, I was actually working as a butcher down at Publix in Florida, home of the pub sub. Still love those. But there's an old saying that I love, and it's most people they die at 25. It just takes their bodies 50 years to catch up. And I'll tell you what, working at Publix, it was kind of a graveyard. There was a lot of people in there who were walking around just talking about what they used to do, right? I used to do this, I used to do that, I used to that. And I never wanted to used to do anything. I wanted to keep doing things, keep living. So very quickly, I started, becoming very open-minded. I was looking at different avenues. That's right around kind of the time I met Emily. And she started talking to me about insurance. She was talking to me about the money she was making and everything. And at the time I was like, insurance, talking about the old guy walking around with a briefcase and a suit, and he's talking about policies and stuff like that. And then when I think about insurance too, I also think about Law and Order, where somebody gets got for $1 million life insurance policy. I was like, isn't that the stuff that gets you killed? But but she kept talking to me about it. She kept how she is. She's so she brought me to my first convention kind of just as supportive, boyfriend at the time. I was like, yeah, I'll go in there. They're going to be talking about products and stuff like that, and it'll make Emily happy, and we'll go back home. And I just remember walking in, and I was shaking hands with people, and just the energy was crazy, right? I was like, these people are selling insurance. Are you serious? And not only that, she was telling me while we were there, that guy's making six figures, he's making six figures. I was like, what are you talking about? And then to top it all off, Andy gets up on stage, and there's fireworks going off, and there's smoke all over the place, and he's got the guns, and he starts talking about freedom. And I was just like, man, these people are alive, right? These people are still doing stuff. And just ever since then, I've just been bought into the culture. It's opened up my mind in ways that I didn't even really know was possible. Before I met Emily, I'd never even been out of the country. Now I've been to multiple different places outside of the country, going to Thailand, which absolutely blows my mind. Going to Asia was never something that was even a part of my world, right? So it's just really been an incredible experience, and I can't wait to see where this business takes us.
Oh, I love that. I like what you're saying about, your first event. I remember my first event, I saw a gentleman up on stage, and his name is Paul Roberts, and he had the biggest impression on me, my first event, but he came out in this really sick rose colored suit and it was like shimmery and sparkled. And I'm like, where are we? You know, like I was thinking the same thing as you, Harry. I was thinking I was going to run into some old white guy, you know, the overweight by the water cooler. You know, that was just kind of my picture of insurance. But I saw people on stage. I saw fireworks. I saw Andy with the, what are those? The smoke guns?
Yeah.
It's like the
liquid nitrogen.
The liquid nitrogen, whatever it is. But I was like, dude, this thing is crazy. And I was just meeting people, shaking their hands. One of our first events, he was just dropping money into bags for people. And I was like, dude, how do I get on stage? So then the year after, all those checks that you see in Mimi's background, Jake and I were getting those checks. So how exciting. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I love that. Every time I see you guys, I think, because the very first trip that we went on, I think, or I don't know if it was our first one or second one, but it was your first trip, Emily. And I don't believe you and Harry were married yet, but I remember that we were supposed to go paddleboarding with you, and we never did. But now I'm gonna say it's because we were waiting for Harry now. So now that both of y'all are going, so we're gonna do paddleboarding in Thailand. Yeah. So we that. Don't let us off the hook. All right, that'll be a good time. That'll be even better place to do it. Right. So, all right, guys. So jumping into today, talking about momentum, the very first thing that popped into my head was a book that John Maxwell wrote called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And I think it was Law 16 of 21 talks about the law of the big mo of momentum. And it really is, that's the catalyst for anyone's business, is start creating and maintaining momentum. I mean, you've heard the stories. It's kind of like, if you were pushing a car up the hill and it's broke down and you're pushing, and you stop for a second, like you just stopped your momentum. Guess what? That thing's going to run you over. But you just got to go a little bit more, and it's coasting from there. Right. So creating momentum, maintaining it. Why is it important in our businesses is what we're going to be touching on. But when we look at the law of momentum, so from the book, from John Maxwell book, it basically states momentum is a leader's best friend. This law emphasizes that a leader's ability to get things moving in the right direction is crucial for success. And once momentum is built, it makes obstacles seem smaller and the future brighter. To build momentum, leaders must be persistent, practice character leadership by staying positive, even in tough times, and recognize and affirm those who are contributing, right? So the first thing I think about when I see that is it's crucial for success, getting things moving in the right direction. And this is where, as a business and a network marketing, we're looking at, okay, building momentum, moving in the right direction, but we've got to get everyone moving in the right direction. Right. So thinking about what are the key things that each of us need to be focusing on. Obviously, I instantly go back to the 8 steps of success and what Andy has taught us in that book, right? That's how we build momentum. We have to get everyone on the same page, moving in the right direction, and then start moving together. Because if we've got people moving this direction and this direction and this direction and this direction, we ain't going nowhere. You can't do this. You can't do this by yourself, right? So that's one of the bigger pieces. Some key principles of it that John Maxwell mentioned. Momentum is essential. Without it, even the best plans or resources will fail to get an organization moving forward. Creates a positive outlook, right? When he says that, when you have momentum and your business is going down the highway, right? And you're growing, new things are happening, big things are happening, you will see like bad stuff is going to happen. There's no way around it. It's going to happen to everyone. People are going to quit. Something's going to happen. Maybe it's personally in your personal life. Someone gets sick, you get sick, or something in your business happens, right? Whatever it is, those are always going to be there. But it's interesting to see as you're growing a business and you start creating that momentum and maintaining it, any of those problems that arise are kind of like, like we got to talking to Andy yesterday, and he shared it. He's not sharing it he definitely wasn't complaining. I don't think I've ever heard him complain on anything like that, but he was just sharing it with us of understanding like there's always going to be problems. When the bigger you grow, the bigger the problems. So having that momentum is crucial because it's going to help not eliminate any issues, but at least eliminate the waste of energy and time in dwelling over those problems. It's just going to allow you to push straight through. Character leadership is key. Persistence is crucial in momentum. That's really when it comes time to maintaining it, right? Because if we cut out persistence and consistency, there's the maintenance of our momentum is non-existent. Recognizing and affirming others, that's huge. People, they'll work hard for a paycheck. They will die for recognition. They will die for recognition. So it's definitely understanding when and how to recognize others to help create that momentum and move forward. So let's just go really quick around the team. Obviously, we're talking about momentum, but real quick, starting with Mimi, when you think of momentum, what does that mean to you in our business? What's the first thing that pops into your head when you're thinking momentum?
Well, that's a good question. And as a nerd as I am, while you're talking about momentum and body in motion, I'm like, that's Newton law, you know? That's Newton's first law.
That's a scholar right there. You got a scholar brain thinking that.
If it makes
I did physics and I did facet.
Hey, it makes me feel better that I was thinking what you're thinking. I'm like, all right. Go ahead.
We're not science majors, right? We think about nerdy stuff like that. So that's a good visual to have. Like whenever people talk about it, I'm thinking, okay, like literally like the law said, a body at rest will remain at rest. A body in motion will continue going until a force is applied to stop it or to make it move faster, right? So it's such a great visual. So if you want momentum, yesterday I was listening to an audio and then they talk about focus, guys. So they say focus is what will get you in a sense to momentum. Until you can focus on what you're trying to do on your goal, you will never get to momentum. Because if you're distracted by everything else around you, there's no way you can focus on the goal. So, because you have to focus, you have to have a goal and then you focus on it. And then as you focus on it and you consistently and persistently working on that goal, you're not going to get the momentum the day you start working on it. You're going to have the ups and downs, but your persistency on that activity and that goal is what's going to get you to that momentum. And once you get it, you don't want to lose it, because if you lose it, that's when you press the brake and you stop the car, then you're going to have to put more effort into it to get it going again. So that's why if it's mean leads, you're trying to sell, get those leads, and it's a learning process. You're gonna go through it, right? You're gonna have to learn the rejection, the objection, and then your own mental, right? Because you're gonna get discouraged in the process of building momentum. None of us on those screens just started and it started growing for us. No, we all been here for a good minute. I think Amanda might be the newest one. So it takes a lot of work in the background. Mm-hmm. For us to get to where we're at. It's what I read that book, Win in the Dark. I love stuff like that because people see Emily, they're like, oh my God, she's so young, she's winning. But you don't know all the work her mom and her dad was doing with her when she was younger to prepare her. And then when she get into the business, she has her own challenge to overcome. In order for you to get to momentum, you have to overcome. And be willing to keep pushing to get to that overcoming, so that way you can win. So for me, momentum means different things depending on what we're looking at, guys. If you're looking at sales, maybe for me, 10,000 is nothing, but it depends on your goal. So if you're trying to sell 5 policies a week, that's all you want, then get yourself from 0 to that 5. Don't stop after the 5, but keep it going and don't stop. Don't get those leads and it gets you to those apps and then you stop, because then you're gonna have to start again. Right? I have an agent, and I know that agent's on the call right now, but I won't name anybody. And he told me, Mimi, you need to teach him to keep working after he made money to pay his bills. Yeah. So that's the momentum. You get the momentum where you're making money to pay your bills, take care of whatever you need to take care of, money for your business and everything. But don't stop, because after you hit that level, then everything else it's not easy, but it becomes like autopilot. It feels easier because you've been put in that work, right?
Right.
So keep those activities up. That's what I would say. Keep that buying those leads, dialing them, having that schedule, all these dirty work nobody likes to do. You got to do them to get to momentum. And it's the same thing with building. That's how I feel. Like I always was building a team, guys, but it wasn't really go crazy and consistent about it. So, but the moment I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this consistently, it's the time for Mimi to build a business. Then I don't care how much work I need to put into it. I'm gonna do it. So you have to build that muscle that will get you to that momentum. So to me, that's key, because if you do it and you get a few people that didn't do anything good, you get discouraged, you're never gonna reach momentum.
Right.
But you have to keep working in that dark, winning in the dark, do the dirty work. Nobody's seeing it. You cry, you can scream, and you can beat yourself up with the pillow. Don't leave any mark. Whatever it is that you need to do, release that energy. I mean, you got to give people permission to. It's not easy, guys. It's simple, but it's not easy. I don't care. You need to cry. You need to scream. You want me to listen to you screaming? Mimi, I just need you to hear me screaming. I will do that for you. I'm a good listener. Do whatever you need to do to get to that level. The success is after you get to that hump. It's like you're going uphill. Growth is painful. It's the same thing, I think, as momentum. As you're trying to get momentum, it's painful. So you're going to have to go to the struggle, but don't quit. Don't give up. Keep pushing. And then you can get to that momentum and keep it going, though. Don't stop.
True that.
And I think as we talk about momentum, thank you for sharing that, Mimi. As we talk about momentum and something that you were mentioning earlier, I think it's also, like you mentioned, an object in motion will stay at motion. That being said, it's also having big goals and big dreams, because I hear Andy talk about it all the time, and I've never really understood it. I now understand it more than ever. It's like, if you don't have a big goal and a big dream, a pea-sized problem, if you have a pea-sized dream, a pea-sized problem knocks you off, right? So, because there will be problems, in this business, whether they're big or small at the time, but it's what are your goals? What is your overall dream of where you're taking this business? Because then that gives us the ability to handle different size problems. Sure. So I think that's big. What about you, Amanda? As far as momentum, what does that mean for you in your business? Or
so for me, momentum. It's so funny. Everybody now has push to start cars, and that means that they get into the car and they push a button to start it. I used to have literal push to start cars. You used to have to get behind it and push it and then dump the clutch to get that baby to turn over. So when I think about momentum, I remember the first time I ever had to start my car like that. I felt bad for the person behind me pushing. It was my brother. He was pushing, and I got scared because back in the day when you had that car and the engine wasn't running, the steering wheel would lock up. And you had no control over that steering wheel because there was no power steering. And so I remember the first time he was pushing me, just when we had enough momentum, he's like, dump the clutch. I was so afraid because I couldn't control the vehicle. I slammed on the brakes and just killed the momentum and then dumped the clutch. And guess what happened? Absolutely nothing. And now I'm further down the road approaching a hill. And so for him to have to start pushing again to try to get me up that hill so that I could get to the point to dump the clutch again, it just didn't work. So for me, with momentum, I think that one thing that's always going to remain true when it comes to picking up momentum, when I was going to college, when I was in calculus physics, I learned about this word called inertia. And inertia, the definition of inertia is basically just an equal and opposing force. To everything in this world, there is an equal and opposing force, and that is the definition of inertia. So on a day-to-day basis, you're going to have inertia in the form of distractions, in the form of invitations, in the form of just life. Life is going to happen. But for me, knowing that I've got to stay laser focused, being plugged into this system, your calendar is everything. And that's something that I was not used to keeping before I got into this business. And for me, that has been the secret. That's the secret sauce, is my calendar. If it's on my calendar, I get it done. And the fuller my calendar is with income producing activities, not going and dropping off my suits at the dry cleaner, not taking care of personal errands during the day, it's those income producing activities, sitting kneecap to kneecap with clients, making the phone calls, whatever needs to get done during business hours, staying true to income producing activities during the daytime. And also, again, I'm very new here. I'm 2 years, 4 months in. So for me, it is still saying no to so many things, that inertia that's around me at all times. It might be an invitation to dinner with friends on my late run day on a Tuesday, where I have to say no, because in my calendar, I have appointments. I run late on Tuesdays to accommodate my clients that have jobs and work all day. So for me, it's just knowing what inertia can be delayed until a later time, an appropriate time. Doing those things outside of income producing hours. And I mean, really and honestly, just knowing that I'm still in a season. And so there's still going to be a large period of time that I'm going to have to say no to a lot of things, because, while I haven't been employed in a very, very long time, one thing that I do know that caused me to go on my own to begin with was when VeRae was a baby, and I got a phone call from the daycare, and they said, "Hey, you've got to come pick her up. I think she's catching a stomach bug." And I walked into my boss's office and I said, "Hey, my daughter's sick. They called me from the daycare. I've got to go get her." And he looked at me and said, "Well, I thought that's what daycare was for." Whew, those were the wrong words to tell this mama bear. And so for me, I knew right then and there that I was going to be my own boss. However, when I stepped into the self-employment role, I also knew that in order to pick up momentum, I needed to tell myself no. I needed to sit on the sidelines when it came to social life, being invited to family events, sporting events, things of that nature. I knew that it was going to be for a season. And so just really knowing what the task at hand is and being laser focused on it, and do not let off those brakes. Do not let inertia distract you. Do not let those distractions stop you from your goals. It is for a season. And once you get onto the other side of this season, then you can take the time for your kids. You can take the time with your family. You can attend those sporting events. You can watch the games, all of that. It's the reward. But without momentum, we're not going to get there.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, it doesn't have to take long. It's just making sure. There's so many different resources and books out there that we'll jump into. But yeah, understanding, knowing what are the right things to work on, and who are the right people to work with when growing your business. So, Emily and Harry, something a little bit different for you guys. You guys have an amazing organization that's absolutely blowing up, and I know that's not like. I know that it didn't just happen from nothing. Like, that's not how this works. But I know some people look at you all and are like, because it's Adam Katz. It just magically happened. Like, we know what people are thinking, and I can call them a couple names, but I won't. But talk a little bit about, because you guys have been traveling. I know when you were on the call with Andy last week, you guys were hitting different cities. So what I want you guys talking about, when you look back and you look at those days where you felt like where like nothing was happening, because we know if you're working in your business, there's days where you kind of beat yourself a little bit. But what was kind of the turning point for you both that really got the momentum flowing and moving in your business to where you guys are at now?
Yeah, I think it's hard to pinpoint like one specific moment. It's everything that y'all have been talking about that builds on it. And it really just came from starting. I think travel was probably, if I had to name one thing, that would probably be what was the turning point, was getting out and seeing people and building those relationships. But we have been extremely blessed with everything that Stella and Anthony Nwabaniki have built, and through Jeremiah Adaki and Bridget Nemanim and Ann Tindog, and it just goes on and on through that organization. And it's funny, we were in Houston and I was telling the team that we get emails every single month and it's just like new records, best month ever. And it just keeps on building, and it's extremely exciting, but it does take a second. It's like, okay, I remember it was 6 months of traveling to Houston before we really saw that organization explode. There was definitely big months, there was big pops, but nothing consistent. And so 6 months of travel, but even before that, before I had that one phone call with Stella Nwabaniki, it was about 6 to 9 months before, whenever I had committed to doing the President's Club pre-booked interviews, and had a few people that I thought could be something, did some local traveling, building those relationships, but really saw nothing in terms of return on investment. So it wasn't an overnight success. It wasn't an overnight. And look, like I said, we're extremely grateful and feel blessed, and just know that it was God's hand on our business that led to that. And then getting people involved as well. Like my dad helping in the team, Andy helping in the team. Like it's not just one thing that changed everything, but it's the moments of starting, and just like Amanda was talking about, sacrificing. And I remember my dad talks a lot about priming the pump. Whatever you want out, you're going to have to sacrifice now. So if you want time and money, you're going to have to sacrifice time and money. And so it's putting in money into the business that it's like, I'm not sure if I have it. Like I'm going to put this money in, but committing it for the next 6 months, 9 months, like when am I going to see that come back? And so I don't know if that answers it, but it's not one thing. It's just building on it consistently.
No,
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they think momentum is just like, it's going to strike them like lightning, right? If I go stand outside, eventually I'm just going to gain some momentum. But in all honesty, it's just in the work, right? If you don't put in the work up front, then the momentum's not going to come. The traveling back and forth to Houston for 6 months, I mean, there were points in that time period where, it feels like, is this working, right? And then one day, it just blows up. Right. It's all about putting in that initial work, and then you're going to see the results down the line from what you're putting in.
Yeah. I think as I think of momentum in our business, it's so easy. We're okay. Let me back up. So we had a call with Andy yesterday, and it's one of those things where you can't help but just feel extreme gratitude for right. It was yesterday. No, it was Monday. Excuse me. But anyways, you can't just help but feel extreme gratitude. And I don't know if Andy's intention of this call was to make us feel a certain way, but what I took out of that call, all positive, was we need to make sure we're focusing on the right things. Momentum is, yes, it's working, it's putting your head down, but are we working and are we focusing on the right things? And so what I took out of that call, and again, he didn't directly say it, and maybe this wasn't his purpose of the call, but I thought of him always talking about get back on the line. Right? Get back on the line. And it's not because Jake and I aren't working every day. It's not because we're not showing up and, putting 100% of our efforts into what we're doing, but it's asking ourselves, are we working on the right things to create the momentum that we want? Because it's really easy to create momentum, but it's asking ourselves, is the momentum in the right spot in our business right now? So for me, what I took away personally from that call is, we've had a lot of momentum with the estate planning and getting that, ramped up and things like that. but not remembering our one job in this business. Do not forget, our one job in this business is to go find one more. So yes, the estate planning is phenomenal and we have a ton of momentum. And the idea is, can we find one more that wants to take estate planning to the next level like we have? The idea is, can we find one more person that wants to build a business and get crazy rich like the dreams and desires that Jake and I have? But making sure we're working on the right things, because if we do stay consistent, if we're, putting effort in every day, if we're making the investments, we'll start gaining momentum. But then it's like, we've got, that's where your upline comes in. Hey, are you working on the right things? And so Jake and I, we've been building a business as fast as we would have liked. Absolutely not. Right. I think anybody on this call and in the business alone would like things to happen faster for them, and they can, but we've got to be so strategic on where we're putting our time, our money, and our emotional energy into. So that way we're working on the right things and just coming back to the line of our only job is to find one more. Now, yes, we say that and it says, so a lot of people think, oh, I don't have to sell anymore. I just got to go talk to one more. No, we still have to sell. We're in a position where we're, using our finances to build our business and continue on that, but just making sure we're staying on the frickin' line. So thank you, Andy, for talking to Jake and I on Monday, because that slapped us right in the face. So
yeah. I love this is like, I love having people to work together with, because Emily and Harry, what you guys said hit so hard just right then, is understanding, because we talk about momentum. So it's like, how do you create momentum, right? And I had a conversation with our good friend Maddie yesterday, and I was all hyped up talking to her this and that about the dream and vision. She's like, all right. And I love it, because she's so, if you guys don't know Maddie know yet, like from Sarah and Danny's team, she's very upfront. She reminds me a lot about my wife. She's very blunt, and she's like, can we get like a little bit deeper level into this? Because this is very surface level. Can we get deeper into this? And I'm like, yeah, because I've never wanted to be the type of person known for like I'm just like here, and yet you're done talking to me and you're like, what the heck did I just learn? Right? That's not good. I want to provide value to everyone. But knowing like, how do we create momentum? It's what Emily and Harry said. It's priming the pump. You have to put in, I love hearing that. If you want time, freedom, and financial freedom out, you have to put money and time in to get it. So what does that look like in this business? How do we create momentum? And you guys don't have to unmute, but I want to ask the question for all of you at the same time. When Andy built this business, do you guys believe that he built this business for people to get rich selling insurance policies?
Mm-mm.
No. It was to build a business. It was to build a dream. It was to have the freedom of knowing that you could have income coming in, whether you're sick, laid up in bed, on a beach somewhere, family's got issues, whatever it is to be able to have that dream and that vision. But we have to understand, in order to get that, we've got to work our butts off, right? I know that was what Andy was talking to us about. So let's get into the weeds a little bit for the second of creating momentum and maintaining momentum in the recruiting side, right? In the recruiting and building. So we've heard different ways. Wow, is Raina calling me?
She probably needs
Maybe
lunch,
we should just text her. Our daughter's calling us from school. She should be on the TWC, not in damn school. I'm just kidding. Where was I going with that?
You were talking about building a business.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Building a business. So there's been different ways we've been taught on, recruiting strategies, right? And obviously we go wide, right? We hire people direct to us, and we call that going wide, so we can find new organizations to work with. And you're sorting. You're not selling people in the business. You're sorting to find the ones that are dissatisfied, that want something new. And from there, as we're sorting, we're looking for the ones that are easy and fun to work with, that have the same dream and vision as you. When I first saw the bubbles being drawn on the board at an Albuquerque hotel by Noel Leventovich, I was like, that's what I want to do. So going into this is, let's say you hire 6 to 10 people. I'm sorry, shocker, not all of them are going to do anything, right? If it was that way, that would be great. Like we keep analyzing Andy's business, and we're like, his top 6. We're looking at those organizations, and I'm like, he didn't hire any of them direct, except for one, Stephen Davies. And even then, it wasn't like the first ones that he hired. Doesn't work that way. So what we have to understand, we hire 6, 8, 10 people. Maybe we get 1 or 2 really good ones to work with, meaning, yes, they're going to sell, but they're also going to recruit and build. They start talking to their friends right away. They start talking to waitress at the restaurants right away, so on and so forth. Okay. And what happens is we need to understand when you know what it is, when, like for Emily and Harry, just talking about that, when you guys kept going back to Houston, kept going back to Houston, kept going back to Houston, and then it exploded. Like, I know you guys had to slow down to build and maintain those relationships and continue to help them hire new people. So when we've got 2 or 3 people that start to explode, like, we've got to slow down and start to build those legs. Because a single person you hire is not a leg. They call it a nub, or it's not even like you don't have an agent until your agent has an agent, right? Now, where am I going with this on how to maintain momentum? So to build it, you've got to start. I mean, imagine you're out there, contact 20, 25 people a week. A person at the coffee shop. Someone comes over to your house to repair the refrigerator. You talk to them, right? Or the person spraying for bugs at your house, right? Or wherever it is, you're waiting in line at something or other, like what Harry's talking about at the food truck. You start talking to people. So whatever it is, wherever it is, you imagine you start talking to 20, 25 people a week. Now, what I'm not saying is don't stop. What I'm saying is when you identify the good ones, you slow down, you take a look at them, and you work with them, you work through them by building your organization, helping them hire people in the first 48 hours. But how do we maintain momentum? Because I know if you guys have ever gone on a recruiting spree, you hire 6, 8, 10 people quick. There's those times where you get a bunch of duds. You at least give it maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 30 days to see if anyone's promising of doing anything. But if you haven't found a single one, you're back to the drawing board. But what Andy's getting us to do in maintaining momentum is ABC, always be recruiting. So if you go hire 6, 8, 10 wide and you start working with 2 really, really good people and they're leading you to others, that doesn't mean we stop recruiting over here. We keep networking. We keep gathering numbers. We keep gathering contacts. So when that leg explodes and you find a leader that can take over for you, now you have 50, 100, 200 contacts you've built up, and you don't have to slow down. All you got to do is sit at your desk and start calling people, because all the while, like Emily and Harry were going back to Houston, work with the same group. All the while, they've been building new contacts and network. So when the leadership explodes like they have in that leg, now they're like, oh, well, good thing I was already building my network and growing it. I've got all these people that I've met at the gym, or, cutting my hair at the barber shop, or getting my nails done, or whatever it was. Now I'm not in a space where, oh, damn, I got nobody to talk to.
Right.
So it's doing the initial creation of the momentum, which is hard, because if you're brand new in network marketing and you have no idea what's going on, like, it could be scary talking to people. It could be scary talking to your friends. Use your upline. But it's important to keep the momentum and not stop, because that is, if you stop recruiting, then bless it, you'll never get what you're truly looking for.
And what Jake is saying is powerful. And obviously Andy's been preaching 3-foot rule, right? Just, hey, if you're within 3 feet. So that's what he's talking about. You're out and about grabbing people's contacts. But it's also powerful. Imagine, imagine we're contacting 25 people a week. Can we make it a goal? Hey, 25 people a week we're contacting, we're getting numbers, we're networking. Imagine how powerful it is. You have 10 people on your team doing the same thing. So now you've got 250 people being reached out to by the 3-foot rule within your business. And again, it's not to get all 250 people in that same week, but okay, like Jake said, you get your 25 contacts, are a few of them worth working with right then and there. And same thing with your team. So now you've just constantly got an inflow of people, and you're not having to post ZipRecruiter ads. You're not having to post Indeed ads when it comes time to, hey, I've got to put in a new batch of people. We've been listening, and I know we've mentioned this a few times, but Mike and Noel sent us the audio of Bill Britt from Amway talking about the 66866. And that's what he's talking about. It's building your contact list. When we're out for coffee, it's asking the person, hey, let me, let's exchange numbers. Thanks for serving us the way that you did today. It's not throwing up on them right then and there, but if they ask, hey, what are you asking for my number for? Hey, I'm going to be reaching out to you either real soon or here in the near future about an opportunity to maybe make some money, right? But it doesn't mean that we have to go get 6 numbers and try to hire them all 6 that week. It's just, how can we get better at building our contact list? How can we get better at getting people on our team to build their contact list? Jake and I, we're not perfect at it, but we have been doing a lot better. I do want to give ourselves a little bit of credit, but we've been very intentional recently. Are we getting everybody's number? Think of back to the beginning. When you hire them, when are they most excited? They're most excited in the first 48 hours, right? So the power of making sure that we're getting people excited in the first 48 hours, and also from there, finding who they know. Mike Guerra and Nick Greco talked about it on stage a couple years ago, but they were calling it score in 24. Can we get a win in the first 24 hours? Meaning, can we get somebody out of that network? And so we've been doing better at it, but Jake hired our buddy. Within the first, I think it took us 48 hours, so we didn't score in 24, but within the first 48 hours, he hired his buddy who's already passed his test, and now his buddy has somebody under him, right? So in the first 2.5 weeks, we're now 3 in depth within that leg, right? And so we've got to keep hammering it. We've got to keep hammering it. We got to keep going deep. But in the meantime, we go wide based off of the contacts that we're building. And then again, as we've got our people out there, on our team, 10 people doing 25 contacts a week, that's 250 people a week that we can potentially have coming into this business. And again, not all of them are going to do it, but it's a place to start, names and numbers to talk to. So
that was good.
I know.
I could say some other things, but I can't say them on live television. So I'll save that for later. All right. So talking about utilizing resources, leveraging resources on how to create and maintain momentum. The first thing we got to remember is, how are we washing our brain every single day? What are we doing to personally grow? So I look at books, right? We talk about, like Mimi said, focus, because how are you going to gain momentum if you're not focused on a destination, on a certain point? Because then, you might create momentum, but you're going to be all over the place. There's going to be no guided direction. So one book that's been really big, VeRae and I just finished it at the same time a couple of weeks ago, is by Brian Tracy, Goals. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to hone in on what's truly important in your life, in business and personal life and family life, what is truly important. And you make that the main theme. So as this momentum is built up, it's not going to waste, because you could build momentum. But again, if there's no end goal, if there's no destination, what's it doing? Where are you going? Right? Like, I'm a big bike rider, and I've always I find the most fulfillment when I have some type of end destination in mind. Like when we were in Ireland, that was probably my best memory. We were in Ireland. I found a rental bike, a place to rent a bike.
Clay Murtis had a few beverages and ditched him the next day. Thanks, Clay.
That's one of my favorite memories. Next time, Clay. And it was just cool because there was a destination. You climb the hill, you bomb it. You climb the hill, you bomb it. And what was cool is waiting at the end was a little cafe with some latte, some cake, and everything that you needed after a good bike ride. And it was just nice knowing, okay, there's a destination, right? And then it was like, okay, what's next? But using that, another one, like when it comes to how do we maintain, how do we grow momentum, in like the 3-foot rule is, it's almost like a manual, but how to win friends and influence people. If you feel like you're awkward talking to people, read that book and it'll give you some step-by-step instructions on how to approach, like how to be normal to people, how to make friends, right? How to influence people. It's right in the title. But then another thing that the alliances put on is we can't forget about certain resources like President's Club. Emily already mentioned it, right? Those pre-booked interviews. When you look at it, for $100 for a children's policy a month, right? You've got access. They're helping with hiring virtual assistants. If you want to talk about building and then maintaining momentum, it's delegating tasks that need to be done, just not by you. So if you're not utilizing that and you're trying to do that stuff on your own, that's not good. Talk with Amir and Lucero and Clay and get with the program, right? like Emily said with those interviews, right? If you're just like, you need more people to talk to, if you need more people to talk to, then jump on board with that. They've got so many different things, from even if it's just maintaining momentum in the sales side with the Go High Level and that whole CRM. I know people absolutely love it, right? Utilizing these resources and these tools that we have at hand, and definitely not overlooking them, because there's a lot of value in those pieces. So,
and I want to talk from a leadership standpoint, when it comes to building momentum for the team and, making sure that we're doing the right things. It came to, let's see, what am I trying to say? So what I thought of, this was a couple of years ago, is, we can get really good at working and mastering the mundane, as Andy calls it. And it's so easy to get off track of why we started doing this and what we're looking at. So one of my jobs that I truthfully believe as a leader is creating vision for our team, casting a dream, casting a goal big enough that they can see themselves there as well. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with, driving your Toyota and being happy and, having a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want, right? It's not what I want. And so that being said, for me, as I'm thinking of leadership and momentum, it's okay, all of the tools that Jake was talking about to get that, but it's also, is your vision big enough? So Emily and Harry, Mimi, Amanda, it's just asking yourself, if what I'm creating, is it inspiring others? Because if you can't inspire others, you're going to have a really hard time leading and developing a team of winners. And so Jake and I, one of the things that we've been writing down in our goals, and, we talked with Andy about this a little bit, and for everybody, it's a little bit different. Our definite purpose, as we were looking at the goals book recently, has been, okay, buying our family dream home. But I kept having people, there's this house and it's this much less, and, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not what I wanted. And if I were to settle for something like that, A, I'm settling for myself, which is not what I truthfully want. And B, I'm settling telling others that they can't go out and chase a dream big enough. So as we're talking about leadership and momentum, it's, it's not sitting there and being fake about it to have flashy things, but what are you doing to show your team that this works? What are you doing to show your team, as Andy calls it, a-holes and elbows, right? That's what I think of. And that's, as I'm trying to be a leader and develop myself, it's, when our team looks at Jake and VeRae, are they questioning whether or not we're doing the right thing? Because if they're questioning whether or not we're doing the right thing, we've gone off the line. So it's making sure, as we've talking about building momentum in Brian Tracy's goals book and all of that stuff, it's having a big enough dream, having a big enough goal that your team can look at you and be inspired. And then the mundane creates momentum within that. But imagine you had a couple people on your team just like you. Imagine you had a couple people on your team who are going after it, as hungry as you are, just as ambitious as you are, that are going to fight, and like they would rather fight to the death than give up and wave the flag and say, hey, I'm not going to try anymore. So making sure that as leaders, we're showing them that example. We're creating dreams, we're creating goals for ourselves that are big enough and worth following.
Yeah. Like VeRae said, what are you doing from the front? And I know Andy's always really good at promoting, okay, what is he listening to? What is he reading? And I know we were talking to him and he was promoting first year network marketing. And I started listening to that yesterday and this morning, because I've read through it. I haven't listened to it, but I'm going to listen to it and read through it again. And just in the last 24 hours, I'm like, it just sparks a new excitement when you go back and you listen to things or you read things. And especially that book, First Year in Network Marketing by, it's either, I don't think it's Yarnell, something Yarnell. Y'all can look it up. Maybe someone can share it. But anyway, I'm thinking, okay, let me lead from the front. Let me get that. Let me get indoctrinated with those learnings and those teachings, and let me be a river and not a dam, and share it with our people. Because if I could get my leaders on my team listening to that, and new people learning those concepts, again, imagine the momentum that we have and will maintain when we're all on the same page. So we're going to finish up with a couple more questions. I can't think of a better person to ask this question for. So Mimi, when it comes to momentum, how important is energy and attitude when trying to create momentum? Because there's one person I think of anytime I see you on a call or in person, you are electrifying. So I will let you answer that one.
Wow, thank you. Well, energy is everything, right? So if I'm talking to you, I'm down. Would you buy into it? No, you're like, she's depressed. She's not excited about what she's doing. So there's no point. So even if you have to fake it, you fake it. And then your brain doesn't know the difference very. Like right now, I have a cold. And it seems like we all have one, except Harry and Emily, because we all going with this. But can nobody tell because of our energy, right? Because we believe in what we're doing, we're sharing it with enthusiasm, right? So if I want my team to copy me, I need to have that energy, because people don't buy your product. They don't buy the company. They buy you, your energy. Whatever you're giving them, that's what they're taking from you. And if you are an energy sucker, nobody wants to be around you.
Right.
So, but if you give life, you electrify people, like you said. So people gonna buy into it. Man, she loves what she's doing. She's excited about it. So you're more convincing. You see what I'm saying? When you do that. So leave me by myself in my room right now, guys. I probably will be a little bit less energetic, right? Because I don't have to convince anybody except if I'm trying to convince myself about something. But if I'm interacting with people, I need to. It's a principle. You have to be enthusiastic. That's what people gonna buy. They're buying your confidence. They're buying your energy. And if you don't have a good vibe, a good energy, and nobody gonna buy anything from you or connect with you. I tell my people, everybody I talk to, I don't care about your color, guys. I don't care about your gender. I'm fine with it, but I go with your energy. Like, it's almost like I want to feel your soul. You know what I mean? How do you feel somebody's soul? Like that vibe, the energy they put out. If you bitter and nobody wants to follow someone like that. You see what I'm saying? So you have to put that positive outlook. You need to put it. I will go to conference or to event, whatever it is, guys. I will have a lot of negative stuff going on, but you cannot tell. Because I know that's not the message I want to give. Everybody's going through something. So you can share with people. We're not telling you not to share with others. You don't have to fake it or anything, but you got to know your wall. When you go to a meeting, even if you don't need the meeting needs you. So come prepared to serve, even if it's just a smile.
Right.
People will follow that.
I think of, when you're talking about that, I think of hotspots, right? It's like, man, imagine how much momentum we can create if everybody at the hotspot had the same agenda. We're going to bring energy. We're going to be, preach it, white boy. That's right.
That's right.
Making sure that people feel that energy, and something so simple that, we feel like, okay, we've got it. We have to remember, we have to teach our new people this.
That's right.
It's not something that they just come into the business knowing most of the time. We have to teach our new people this. So I'm over here thinking to myself, what you're saying, we've got Gina Hawks coming to Albuquerque tomorrow. And I'm like, we better freaking be on fire, Albuquerque team. We need to be sitting up in chairs. That's right. Inviting people, excitement. So the energy is absolutely everything. I know for myself, if I saw somebody up there that was boring and, didn't look like they were excited, I'm not going to be joining the business. So thanks for sharing. I know you probably have another question for the others.
That was huge. Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you.
Amanda, for yourself, wrapping us up, what are some, because like Emily and Harry mentioned, it's not one thing that creates and maintains momentum. So when you think back to some daily habits and routines, what do you feel like you do very well in habit and routine form that helps create and maintain momentum for yourself?
No, Emily and Harry are absolutely right. It's this is something that you have to visit with and sit with yourself on a daily basis. So for myself, to keep momentum going, because every day is not easy. I mean, good Lord, I have so many obstacles, it's not even funny. But first and foremost, I wake up and just with absolute gratitude. I insist on starting my day with gratitude. And from gratitude, I move into a belief. I have to believe every single day. I have to believe that it's going to be better than yesterday. I'm going to be better than I was yesterday. Things are going to turn out better than they did yesterday. So it's waking up with gratitude. It is waking up with that belief system, believing in myself, believing in my abilities, believing that if I just remain consistent, the numbers are going to turn into my favor. And then it's a decision. From that point, then it's a decision. It's great to have the belief and the attitude, but now it's time to put it into action. And so, it was so funny. Tiffany Nunez, she was here in the office the other day, and she peeks her head into my office because it was a no client day. She was like, "Is that EDM music?" It's like, yes, it is. So once I wake up and I make that decision, I immediately spring into action. And during my showers, during my time that I'm getting ready, I am listening to some crazy high energy electronic dance music, hip hop, just going crazy, pumping myself up to prepare myself for the day. And that is what gets me going. It gets the juices flowing. I get hyped up, and it actually even gets me aggressive. And I'm like, all right, let's go. There isn't anything I can't do today. Let's go. It's going to win the day. And it's just that strong belief system. And more than anything, it would be totally useless if I did all that and then turned it off and said, oh, well, tomorrow's another day. No, I make the most of every day. I spring into action. Very, very intentional. And everything that I do it all the way, whether it's shattering my leg or sitting with clients or talking to a new person that is excited about the business, and just constant goal setting, right? Constant goal setting with myself. And then also when you do bring somebody into the business, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned about picking up momentum with somebody else, it's not really talking about the business, it's goal setting. I spoke with a new recruit just yesterday, and I was blown away. I didn't ask all the typical questions. Well, what got you into insurance, and what has you thinking about insurance? I was like, hey, what do you want for yourself? Why are you even interested in doing any of this? And she just straight up screamed. She's like, I want to be a millionaire. I was like, me too, let's go. So it's just really making a decision and acting on it, and not letting yourself fizzle out, because life is going to happen and you will have every reason in the world to quit, but it's just overcoming every situation and believing in yourself and showing up for yourself to get things done. So that's my daily routine when it comes to how do I keep momentum, keep that ball rolling. You're on your own. You've got to do it for yourself.
And I love it. I always think of Stephen Davies, and he teaches from stage about you got to have a song that's going to pump you up, but then you also have to have a comeback song, like someone hangs up on you or slams the door in your face, and you have to have something that'll revive you, because it's so easy in this business. You could go and contact someone and be excited about it, your best friend, and they just shut you down, and it's that could be hard. That could be hard, but it's just, okay, whatever, so on. Let's go to the next one. So I love that. Emily and Harry, I'm going to hit y'all with a little bit of a harder one as we wrap things up, but this is a difficult business. I will say that. This is one of the hardest things I've done in my life. In construction, it was brainless work. I just threw my headphones in. I could be in a bad mood. I could have had something happen that morning, spilt my coffee, or whatever it was, and I could have still gotten my job done, whether I had a good or bad attitude. It didn't matter. I was still going to get paid. Like Mimi was saying, we've got to be ready. We've got to be prepared. We have to have the right attitude and the right energy. And so I know a lot of people will get into phases where they're like, I'm doing all the stuff you guys are saying. I'm doing the right things. They feel like they're doing all of the right things, but they're not seeing the results yet. So what could you guys share with those folks who feel like they're doing the right things, but they're not seeing the results yet? What could you share with them?
It's coming, and I know that sucks to hear, and it sucks whenever we're in a phase of business that, because everybody experiences it. You were talking about it earlier. We want to get to this place, but we're here and we feel like we're going and going and going, and it's not happening as fast as we want it. One of the things I always kind of remind myself of is everybody has a price to pay for success, and that price is going to look different for everybody. So what it took one person to get there, obviously the activities, the core principles of it are all what's going to make you successful in this business is what's going to make you successful. But what that looks like in terms of the obstacles we have to go through might be different. And I strongly believe God has equipped us to handle the obstacles that are in our way to get to our place of success. But it's just painting that vision of where are we trying to get to. I love what y'all were talking about defining that definite purpose. What are we trying to achieve? And no matter what the obstacle is, we're going to get there. But if you don't have that purpose defined, then why would I keep going through the motions over and over again to get somewhere I don't even know if I'm trying to get to? So define what you want and then just build that support system around you, because it's already built into the system here. The people are here to help you succeed. But unfortunately, we've got to pay that price. And we just don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or what was it? 3 feet from gold. I forgot how many feet it was. But if we stop right now, we're never going to hit that gold. We're never going to know what's truly there. So just keep fighting.
Right. And just to add to that, I mean, this business isn't microwaved, right? It's not a Hot Pocket. It takes a lot of, like you're saying, Jake, it's one of the hardest things, it's the hardest thing I've ever done too. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of work. There's a lot of people out there where they plant the seed one night and then they're out there the next morning staring at the ground. They're like, where's it at? I got to check on it. But keep watering it, keep tending the field. Those are really the biggest things, is just try to gain that momentum. Right. And here's the other thing too. A lot of people feel like they're doing the right things to gain the momentum, but do you have somebody who's checking your work? Right. Are you getting coaching from your growing up line? Are you talking to people who have the success that you want? Right. Because those are the people who are going to be able to get you to where you're trying to go. I love what, Amanda was saying about daily habits and everything. Are you reading the books? Are you listening to the audios? Do you have your ticket to national convention? Right. Are you on the calls? Do you go to all the local hotspots? Those are the things that are going to help you build momentum in this business.
One thing that I would just add, because what you're talking about of making sure you're doing the right work, Stephen Davies said it a few years ago, and it just sticks in my head. Worry feels like work. And so sometimes whenever we're thinking we're doing the right things, but are we just worrying about where we're trying to get to, or are we actually taking the action? Because they can feel the same sometimes, but they get very different results.
Ooh, that's good. Bars, Stephen Davies. But I was also thinking, as you guys were talking about that, everybody, there's this old saying, they say, practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. And that's not true. Practice makes permanent. So whatever we're practicing and whatever we're spending time and energy on, it becomes permanent, in our brains, it becomes permanent in our actions. So we need to make sure we're practicing the right things. And so again, I'm grateful, when Andy called us on Monday. It's just making sure that we're on the line. It's making sure that we're working on those right things. I don't know why you guys are laughing.
Sun is like cover. I was trying to get out of it.
Okay. It's an aura.
I was like, is it something I said? But no. So practice makes permanent. So what are we working on a daily basis? Are we, making sure we're being visible and we're being, open to having our uplines check our work and being transparent with them. So if you're brand new in this business, it's as simple as sending your schedule to your upline. It's as simple as sending your schedule to your upline. And maybe that's, where you start, but now you're in this business. Okay, send the schedule to your upline of, hey, this is the work that I put in last week. Help me understand, am I working on the right things, or what should I be focusing on? And then finding somebody who cares enough, and all of us have somebody within our uplines that care enough to be able to check you and say, hey, you're not focusing on the right things. And, it's real easy to take offense to things if you're not willing and open to hear what you need to hear at that time. We got a text from Andy right before this call. I said, quick gut punch. But I could be mad about it, or I could be grateful, because he sees things that Jake and I don't see. He sees our business in a light that Jake and I aren't able to see at times, because we're so in the thick of it. And it's like, hey, we just need, thank God for the Alliance. Thank God for our mentors. Thank God for this business, that we have people that care enough about us to tell us how it is and to be able to show us. And if you're going to be offended because your upline is trying to get you back on track, that's your problem. And I've been there. Ask Mike and Noel. There's plenty times I've been offended, right? I'm not perfect, but it's like, hey, I can stay mad, or I can be grateful, because they talk about gratitude all the time. And our pastor said it. He said, gratitude stops all toxic emotions. So if you can be grateful for the Alliance and the system and your uplines that are willing to get in the weeds with you, get in your business with you, and really try to grab you by the face mask and pull you a different direction, it's only for the better. So anything else you want to wrap up with?
Yeah, we'll just leave everyone with this. What we all have here, the opportunity we have at the Alliance. Yes. I love the fact it's just the cherry on top that we're in insurance, because we can change a lot of people's lives with it. But the opportunity we have at hand to build something for the future, that'll create more time freedom and financial freedom for us and our families is absolutely insane when you think about it. What we need to focus on and remember is it's just going to take the right people. It's going to take the right people, and understanding that the platform we have here with the people we have here, we have everything here at the Alliance in order to create a multi-million-dollar income, right? To make $400,000 a month. We have everything we need here. What it's going to come down to is us and our activities and our efforts and our thought processes. There's other people that we've got that are doing that, right? There's people in the Alliance that are making millions of dollars, that they've built this from the ground up, right? And there's a whole new wave of us coming right behind them.
I think I'll leave it with this. My last comment is, I think of the book, and I listened to the audio Acres of Diamonds. Guys, what we have, it's already in our backyard. It's right underneath us. So, we just got to keep planting the seeds. We got to keep practicing the right things, being transparent about what we're doing. Like Harry said, don't plant a seed and look at it the next day and say, oh, has it grown yet? Please don't go dig up the seed that you planted and say, oh, I just need better soil. The grass is green here. We're able to grow here. We have the same opportunity as Andy. If you look at Andy's business and you think that your business could never be that big, you are sorely mistaken. When I think of our business, I think of Jake and I bringing people to the events where everybody that was at NatCon, the 2,000-3,000 people that are going to be at NatCon, I picture one day that those are going to be 2,000 to 3,000 people in our organization alone. I do see us packing out Dallas Cowboys stadiums. I see us packing out, things far bigger than what we're doing now. That's not going to happen with just us. That's not just going to happen with you guys. It's finding one more. It's making sure that we're developing and coaching leaders, and just growing from there. So I'm extremely grateful to be able to host this call. Grateful for you guys that were chosen by our CEO to be on here with us. But we're out. I think that's it. So thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
You.